backstage Hollywood. The real Hollywood.
One of the ones that I think that people found very interesting was the makeup I did for First Contact for the Borgs. And then I would say right up next to that would be the makeups that I worked on last year, which was for the movie Thor, for the Frost Giants. Because those took just as long as when we did the Borgs. It took about 6 hours to put those makeups on. I've done everything from presidents to look-alike makeups, to beauty makeups, to ball caps, to prosthetics, age makeups, so it kind of runs the gamut. So far, I mean, every actor I've used it on, they've loved it. I've used it on television shows, I've used it on features, and everyone I've used it on has really liked it. In fact, last week I worked on a sitcom called Up All Night with Christine Applegate.
Oh, okay.
And I was doing one of the guest stars on the show and was using this product on her. And one of the things that she said is, she goes, I just love the feel of this. She says, this makeup feels very different from anything I've ever had on before. And I said at the end of the day, I said, do you want me to take that off so you can go home? And she says, no, no, no. She says, I want it to stay on. She goes, I want to have my husband see me with it on. She says, I want him to take me out to dinner. She says, I love this. Like I said, really liked it. I had another actress I worked on, and her response was, I've never felt anything that felt so sheer and yet gave me the coverage. Real advantage of this product is that it goes on very nice. It goes on with great coverage, and at the same time, you can put it on very sheer.
As an actress, as a television and film actress, I find that DMK, the coverage has been full, has been able to go on and be applied smoothly. It lasts a long time, many hours on set. It lasts a full day. I don't have to be repeatedly applying my makeup, which is a big deal for me because I actually need to have a very natural look.
Because a lot of people don't want to have a feel of a lot of makeup on their skin. And especially with high def. High def does not like a lot of application of heavy makeup because it picks it up more readily. So you have to be very careful with that kind of application. So the thing is, really, you need to have it go on sheer enough, but at the same time get the coverage you need. And the problem is also, I mean, a lot of people don't want to have a heavy amount of makeup because they just don't want to have, the issue is also in the repair and keeping it maintained during the course of the day.
Oh, no.
If it's too heavy, you're going to get a problem with too much buildup, and you're going to have it basically on an older actor. It'll start basically blending in, and it will start exaggerating lines around the face.
Yeah, and crepey look.
Makeup artists, God bless them, on the set, having to come and touch up every few minutes.
Absolutely.
Doesn't that break your concentration?
Oh my God, absolutely. You know, that's what I'm saying about the fact that the makeup stays on a full day. You know, I don't have to go back to the mirror and check, you know, what's happening under my eyes. It's covered and it's solid. And it is very, very helpful on set. I got to say, Danae, it has improved my ability to work with my face on camera.
So I finally did come up with a base that was so far out of the box, so different than anything ever made. Of course, I didn't realize that, not being in the cosmetic industry, that it literally is changing the cosmetic industry as it's known today.
One of the scenes I did for prom, we were shooting outdoors in, I think it was Woodland Hills, and it was approximately 120 out.
Whoa.
And we had the actress I had made up. She was doing a whole routine with a bunch of other girls. She was supposed to be a cheerleader. And so because of that, she was out there doing all this moving around, and other than sweat, where I would go up and just pat her down with a tissue, her makeup didn't move at all.
Why would you want to put a product on yourself or put a product on your client that melted at 89.2 degrees Fahrenheit when the body temperature is 98.6? It makes no sense at all, does it? Our foundations are poured at temperatures that are a little bit higher than 230 degrees Fahrenheit. 230 degrees. and it still will not turn into a liquid. Now, you want a heat-proof cosmetic? You want something that's going to last through the humidity and the hot, regardless of where you are? Right there it is.
The makeup itself, it really will stay in place, even with the most difficult hot day with doing stunts or anything else that the actor has to go through, or even with a photo shoot where it's under very trying conditions. The one thing I've noticed is the makeup doesn't move. I mean, I did the tattoo cover-up for the print work, for the initial brochures and stuff for DMK.
Yeah.
And we had the gentleman who had the tattoo over one whole height of his side of his chest and arm, and that was all done. That was all done with DMK.
Yeah.
Now the secret is, anytime you have to cover up anything that's that extensive, you powder it, remove all your excess powder. I know that DMK doesn't require a lot of powder, but you still need to put some on there just to help make sure it sets.
Yeah.
On top of that, if you use any kind of the standardized sealers that are available to makeup artists, such as Ben Nye's Final Seal, or Maron's sealer, or Krylon's Fixer Spray, any of those, if you lightly mist those on, let them dry, and then again lightly powder it, because they will leave a slight little bit of tack to the skin. It will set the makeup even further still, and it will keep the makeup from rubbing off on wardrobe. Wardrobe is usually always our biggest problem, because anytime we do any kind of tattoo cover-up on an actor or actress, the first thing that wardrobe will do as a department is they'll give them a terry cloth robe, which is very abrasive. So usually what we try to tell them is, can you give us a silk robe or something of that type that will be less abrasive on the skin?
Yeah.
What we do as makeup artists, using like DMK cosmetics, we can conceal it, but you're not going to see the telltale sign of the demarcation of the keloid. Well, as I mentioned, I used it up on the new television show for NBC, Up All Night.
Right.
I've used it on Up in the Air with George Clooney.
Yeah.
I've used it on Prom, which was a Disney film.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I used it on Star Trek. Well, and the problem we were having also is it was also being shot in 3D with high-def cameras.
Yeah.
And so you had the added problem of the three-dimensional aspect, exaggerating things along with the high-def. High-def always exaggerates skin texture, it exaggerates hair follicles, it exaggerates any little nuance to the face. And so that's one of the problems that we have as makeup artists, is trying to deal with keeping up with that technology and trying to keep up with it, but also have it look as natural as we can without having any kind of artificial quality to the makeup.
Well, I actually developed the DMK cosmetics, or we call it the foundations of skin, for the therapists and the doctors for the very reasons I mentioned. But I didn't factor in on the Hollywood industry with the high-definition cameras.
And the other problem we have now is almost every production uses high def. So if it's feature, they're using high def. If it's still camera shoots, it's high def. If it's television, it's high def. And everyone seems to have high def monitors at home now. So, I mean, you have that as a double problem. Because, you know, now work that you would done that you know would have been traditionally on a regular TV screen is now being shown on a high def monitor that is like 84 inches wide by, you know, I mean, it's practically like a television movie where we have to do the makeup of movie quality, not television quality.
Yeah.
There used to be the saying that if it was something you were doing for television, oh, it's just television, no one will see it.
Nobody cares, yeah.
Because the monitors were not that good, the TVs were, they gave you a lot of leeway. Now you have none of that leeway. You have hyper-realism with television and with movies now. So anytime you go to see a movie or a TV show, it is so detailed that you're seeing every nuance of the face and every flaw, which sends a lot of the actors and actresses screaming and going to basically saying to their plastic surgeon, oh, I have bags under my eyes, you need to fix it because these high-def cameras are showing everything up. And it really is a problem. Yeah, I used it on, we bought a zoo, and we had a lot of the people that really enjoyed wearing the makeup. One person I used it on was Faith Ford. Most people probably You know, if you remember Murphy Brown, you'll remember
yeah.
Faith Ford.
Yeah.
It's been a response that has been great because everyone likes the feel of it. And that's one of the things is when you're using an oil-based makeup, I mean, this is a silicone base, but generally oil-based makeups tend to, if the person gets really hot, they tend to start breaking up. It looked great on him. I mean, he didn't even notice. And I blended it off, and I used it on some of the other characters on the show. And I blended it off. It blended right into the skin, and you couldn't tell where it began and ended. Well, no, it's one of those things that, yes, you can easily use it on just areas of the face, especially when we're doing guys. We don't usually do their whole face. We only do areas where you need a little bit of control, blocking out a discoloration like under the eyes, or maybe they have a birthmark or something like that that you need to conceal.
Well, I didn't know that. So even in the movies?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's something I didn't know about. I thought they had their whole face covered.
Oh, no. It's one of those things where we do, especially on guys, we're only doing part of the face just so they don't feel like they're under lots of makeup.
Yeah. And
Well, I mean, the real secret is being able to blend and to mix colors. I mean, for Eris's makeup here, I blended 3 different colors. It's the thinness that you can get with the application. It's also the concentration of color, and you can also control that just by the mere act of blending it in more into the skin. You can control the amount of coverage you get or you don't get, depending on what it is you're striving for. Because some people don't need a lot of coverage, and some people do. So it really depends on the person.
Yeah.
So some people would like to have a little more coverage, and if that's the case, then you can always do that very easily with using the DMK. Quite truthfully, I always take, anytime I'm day checking or working on a show, I always take the bag I have here, which I have up with all my DMK, and always take it with me.
Yeah.
It becomes a standard item I always take out with me anytime I have to do a call to application of any kind of makeup.
But I wanted the makeup artist to have a foundation they could depend upon work-wise, and not have to carry a whole bunch of different foundations with them.
Well, in fact, I was just using the DMK blush, which is the natural blush. I took a little of that and mixed it into the foundation and created a corrector just that would mirror into her makeup.
Wow.
Now, I could have used a corrector as well, but sometimes you don't always have that advantage.
Yeah, that's...
So maybe you don't have the exact right color. Look down slightly. There. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to mix again. Even if you have pre-mixed colors, I always end up mixing some of my shades just to make sure everything harmonizes. I teach the journeyman classes for our union, and that's one of the things I show them, is because a lot of times people will take the really light value color and put it under the eyes. High-def cameras, it will read very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So you always have to use the foundation mixed with whatever you're using to create the highlight. You can't use it straight because the camera will pick it up very easily. I mean, the older cameras and the other older systems were fine. Today's camera is much more sophisticated, is not as forgiving, and so you have to be very careful with that. But unfortunately, the camera will always be the enemy in this. It sees more than the human eye does.
Oh, yeah.
And so you have to be very careful not to go too overboard with something. Otherwise, the camera, like I said, will tell you that you've done too much.
What was that one from? That's not from Jaws.
No, this is from Pushing Daisies.
Pushing Daisies. And that one I recognize from the John Malcolm.
Okay.
They've done stuff for Fisher King, as you see up there, Star Trek Next Generation, Addams Family, Caveman, Masters of the Universe, 1408. So, I mean, we're surrounded with things that they've done stuff for. And Robbie the Robot next door, and the Time Machine. Kevin Haney worked extensively with Dick Smith in New York. They worked on a lot of shows. The Hunger.
Oh, that was one of my...
Yeah, he has pictures there from The Hunger.
That makeup on The Hunger was unbelievable.
There's a much younger Kevin Haney there.
I told you.
We are Legion because we are men.
I want to thank you for being on our program.
Oh, my pleasure.
Vice of you.
We have the Power Rangers now. That's the back portion. This is all designed so they can duplicate that over and over. And then, well, this is Clayton's life cast. This is going to be his cheeks. I have his wig upstairs I've been working on. We have an exact duplicate of the costume. So when we get done with him, he's going to look just like Professor Snape. I have to sculpt out some covers for the eyes that will also include an eye bag right through here, so it looks just like Alan Rickman's face.
Other than Caucasian skin, can you tell us how you have felt DMKC color coverage has been on Asian and darker skin tones, such as black and Hispanic and so on?
Well, in fact, the characters I worked on last week were black and Asian. And what their response was, oh my God, this looks natural. They looked in the mirror, and I said, is there anything else you want me to change? They go, no, I like the way it looks. They go, whatever you did, it looks right. So I had to prove as a lily white Caucasian makeup artist that I could do black skin. And the woman sat down, she says, okay, I'm going to let you try and do something on me. It's like she was like proving to herself that she's going to show me. So I sat down there, I did her makeup, and when I got done, she looked in the mirror and she says, wow. She says, I have never seen a makeup artist who's been able to match my color that beautifully. She says, even black makeup artists can't do it. And I had another black actress I did. This was for Starstruck. No, Starstruck. And she said the same thing. She says, oh my God. She says, I have been on every show known to man, she says, and you've actually matched my color. Yeah. She says, and you mixed everything. She says, are you an artist? I said, yeah, I have an art background. She says, it shows. She says, it shows because you matched my coloring. She says, no one's ever done that. She says, in all the years I've worked as an actor, no one's ever done that. You know, a lot of makeup artists, unless they have the color right in front of them, they can't match someone's coloring. They don't know how to mix to create the color they want. And the problem with that is if the person isn't adept at mixing, they're going to have problems. Like I said, almost every makeup I do, I end up mixing to create all the colors I want. And that's why usually when I'm doing the makeup, the actor's sitting in the chair and they're watching me and they're wondering, why is it that you're doing all this? Well, it's like when I get done, it looks like them. Oh. I mean, today's actor and actress, the normal thing you hear from a director is they want it to look very natural. They don't want anything that looks artificial. So the thing is to replicate as close to their coloring as possible. And that's what they want, because directors today don't want to see makeup, and you hear that over and over and over. And so, again, it means really being, if you have good lighting, like what we have in here, is making sure that you replicate the color as close to their skin tonality as you can.
You get all the colors in a series in a palette into a 6 colors, plus the 6th color over here is a highlighted shading color that works real good, okay? The highlighting color, you can blend in with all these colors to lighten them up. And you can buy a replacement just to go in there. Isn't that cool? That now you can take a palette like this and you can put a foundation, a highlight, a shading color, a darker shading color, maybe a red corrector and a blue corrector, and you've got your whole full range of makeup right there. Now, our natural hair brushes are made from raccoon, and the Hindus that run this farm don't even step on the bug. Now, there's a bunch of bald-tailed raccoons running around. But they're running around free, and they kind of got little smiles on their faces.
Even better is the creme glacé. That applied before the makeup foundation is brilliant.
The most revolutionary primer that I have ever seen. Okay? Now, that same thought is spreading throughout the Hollywood community with the makeup artists. That same thought is spreading through the 7 countries that DMK Cosmetics is in. The creme glacé goes on, and what it's going to do, first of all, it is going to even out just a little bit of the skin tones.
What do you think?
I think it's great. I mean, I can use it at home.
You look totally nice. You said that.
The one advantage I found with your foundation, and this is one of those things that's very unique, it's not in any of the other foundations, is because you have the properties in it. I notice on people who have problematic skin. I found this with all the younger actors I was working on with prom. Their skin got better in the quality as far as the acne breakout. Normally, if you use any kind of cream makeup on acne-prone skin, it tends to want to break out more.
Yeah.
As I was using it on the characters, the actors on prom, their skin got better each day I used it.
I have some ideas,
so their skin physically had less acne. Their skin got better as far as the quality and texture of the skin.
the base. There's an occlusive quality to the base itself, which allows certain healings to take on naturally anyway. Whereas you're not fighting a lot of mineral oils and things like that.
Mineral oil, which tends to promote a lot of that.
Secondly, the biosense, which is a preservative, and that's all we list it as. It does kill everything at certain percentages.
On prom, she was a professional model as well as an actor.
Yeah.
And she said that she goes, I've never had anyone do a makeup that looks this nice on me. She said it photographs great, it feels great. She says, and she never came in to have it removed at the end of the day. She always left with it on. And even with the fact that she left it on, she would come back and her skin was looking better every day that she wore it. And I'm not pulling your leg.
No,
It's one of those things that I could not believe it. But each day I put her makeup on, her skin got better.
So the best we can say is it will not create more of a problem. It'll help your skin heal itself.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, as makeup artists to actors, the one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to put products on their face that's going to cause any kind of problem with their face long-term wise. We're shooting a movie for 3 months. We don't want to have the skin breaking out and looking worse, that we're going to conceal and have to put more makeup on. I mean, we're wanting to do the direct opposite, again, because so many things are being shot in high
You can
def.
do this on the whole body, by the way. You know, if they have it on their back and there's a scene where there's
Well, I mean, I've done people for weddings. You know, again, you want a makeup that's not going to transfer either. I mean, if I took a tissue, I mean, I lightly powdered the makeup, but you'd notice there's not a lot of shine to it.
No.
But look at that. I mean, I'm just dragging this over Eris's face, and the only thing that came off was the lipstick because I happened to get near the lips because that's her lip color. But there's no other makeup coming off.
With the lights, you never know how the lighting's going to be. You know, the guarantee that, you know, my makeup, my coverage is going to stay on and is going to protect me from the extra residue of sweat and the external, you know, effects of being outside. It's a godsend because it just takes away all that anxiety.
The skin is the first communication device that we have when we meet other people, other humans. Not only from its visual point of view, but from its tactile point of view. And people can judge you by that. It doesn't mean everybody has to be drop-dead gorgeous or beautiful or classic, but that everybody is well presented as they possibly can be, and they know it in their heart. So that's out of the way, and their confidence then can just go for it, and they can do anything they want.
What do you think?
I like it.
I like it. I'm going to keep it on all day.
Yeah, of course.
Really, it doesn't look like she has anything
It
on.
looks like nothing on at all except lipstick and blush, and God, your lashes are gorgeous. So she gets up out of the pool, she screams, "Touch up!" And he comes running up with his kit with all of our foundations. She stands up, like, ready to be touched up, and he looks, he goes, "Oh, can I be touched up?"
In fact, I had one of our actors on one of our shows. I'm not even going to say because I don't want to have any problems with this because he's taping this. But he was so surprised at what she looked like without her makeup on that she said to my boss, Michael Westmore, it's like, "Is that the same person?" It's like, "Yeah." He just could not. He says, "My God, they should hand you the Emmy right now." He says, "Because I have never seen such." And we were shooting high def, and we were seeing it on the big screen over at Paramount. It was humongous. and you couldn't tell anything was done to her face. Nothing. And I mean, I was looking for it, and I couldn't even see it.
Of course, she would never allow
And
it.
I was looking for it because I knew what I was looking for.
Oh,
Even her assistant came up to me and asked me what the process was. I did her makeup because she's never seen her look that good, ever.
These pictures go up real close. You have to be very careful.
Well, I don't hear you scream much anymore.
No. Thank you.
Thank you, honey. Thank you for being a brilliant and gorgeous spokesperson. And I mean that.
Thank you for being Danae.
Oh. I had makeup artists come to me and say, I just want to thank you for doing this for us. And that means a lot. So as far as the industry goes, the feedback has been enormous.